Hello, I'm John Jannarone, Editor-in-Chief of Tech Edge, back here at Nasdaq MarketSite, this time on Studio B on the second floor on this rainy New York day. I've got with me today Danny Brickman, who is the founder and CEO of Oasis Security. Danny, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Danny, started off by introducing yourself, if you don't mind. What led you to found the company and what Oasis Security is all about?
Well, it goes back to probably my history in the IDF. So I served 11 years in Israel Defense Forces, doing all the cyber offensive, ethical cyber offensive, with the right flags behind my back, as I love to say. And as we grew up together, me and my co-founder in the unit, we decided that we spend a lot of time on protecting like governments, etc. And now it's our time to protect the whole world, the big world. And we decided to start Oasis with this notion. Everything we learned for 11 years.
Tell us about how AI is changing your world in terms of the attackers and then the defenders.
I think there's like three elements that AI is changing the world. First of all, attacks today are like much easier with AI. Like everything is faster, like all the intelligence. Like we were spending, like when we were like doing hacking as a kids, we were spending so much time on stuff that today can be done within seconds, right?
Wow.
So like an attack today can be like minutes and not like weeks, like we used to do back then. But also, we're seeing today that development or like tools and this kind of stuff are like built much faster. Like you don't need like a brigade of like 50, 60, 100 people. You can do it with 2 people, right? In a basement, which is bringing us back to the good old days of hacking, if you will. Right? But like the world is today less prepared. Like we think we're sophisticated, but AI is just like more sophisticated than everything else.
Makes sense. Now, you and your business partner, Amit Zimmerman, set out to tackle challenges posed by non-human identities. Now, for those viewers out there who are not familiar with what a non-human identity is, you're going to hear all about it from an expert. So tell us how those work.
Sure. So just to take us back to how business innovates today, right? We are leveraging, you're mentioning AI, but also cloud and third parties and SaaS applications. There is a lot of discussions around that. And the pace that a business innovates today to be competitive, right, is something we never seen before. But every time we're doing this integration, this connection, we're actually leveraging dozens of non-human identities. It can be secrets, API keys, service accounts, different types of creatures that are allowing us access to our most sensitive data and giving this access to a third party, an agent, an AI agent or something like that. And in today's infrastructures and business, the number of non-human identities compared to human identities, it goes to 20 or 50 times more non-humans than humans. And obviously you were asking about the AI change, right? So people are looking at like agents, for example. What are those? Are humans or non-human? They're not human, right? Like I'm not getting into this philosophical question, right? But let's consider them as non-human, which means that every identity they're using is a non-human identity.
Gotcha. What kind of market opportunities are there out there for you guys? I mean, just tell us about, as this, everything's moving so quickly. I mean, you must have to think a couple steps ahead about where technology is going to be 2 or 3 years from now, right?
So basically looking at security stacks today and like security solutions, we're always closing a gap that is being made by technology and infrastructure and developers moving fast, right? And security is trying to catch up, to put the security guardrails. It's all the time. This is how we're seeing innovation is happening in the security space, right? And as I was mentioning, today is like the integrativity and like interconnection between different systems actually created a situation when we have 95% of our identities not protected, right? But the philosophy that was serving us for many years in security, that like we'll centralize everything, we'll control it, and we'll give after that to developers and infrastructure people the solutions to use, is just not adequate for our times today. I'm calling it kind of like the Gen Z of infrastructure, right? Developers will use whatever they want. And this is where we want to step in and help to get this.
If I can, Danny, I've got to ask you, when you look at companies that are vulnerable to attacks in this rapidly changing environment, should even small companies be worried about this stuff? And does that mean that they should invest in protection? I mean, I'm thinking about a company of, say 10 people or something. Could even a company that small be vulnerable to a serious attack?
I gotta tell you, we're protecting ourselves with these attacks. We're using our own tool on our own infrastructure all the time. Just because of the scale.
That's really something. I mean, how much of an investment does it take though? If let's say, if it's a smallish company just doing 10 million of revenue a year, can they set aside a few $1,000s a year for protection, or what kind of numbers are there for a smaller company like that?
The proportions are usually kept the same, I would say, but like you need to put aside a few thousands or like 10,000 or dozens of thousands of dollars to protect yourself if you're a small company.
Yeah.
Which is something that we are investing as a company as well, right?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Can you tell me about your observations with the intersection of identity security and compliance, particularly how organizations can prepare for regulatory changes?
So first of all, we're seeing the first regulations of PCI asking specific questions about non-human identities, system accounts, and they want to see that organizations are actually managing and controlling those accounts in a proper way. But we're seeing more and more regulations that are starting focusing on that, right? For example, for many years there was a lot of focus on privileged accounts, right?
Yeah.
Like how a person can access a sensitive information, right? But today this person is changed by a machine, by an agent, and then suddenly the question is turning to like, how is this machine, how is this non-human has an access, a privileged access to a specific resource? So we're actually just like, there's an evolution happening in the compliance side.
Really interesting. All right, Danny, last question I've got to ask you because we're here at Nasdaq, of course. You're privately held at the moment, have done some private rounds. Any aspirations to go public at some point? Can you just share any thoughts?
In general, as we're looking at the company and innovation, it's a matter of building, right?
Yeah.
And we want to continue build, and we're believing that going public can be one day an option for us to be building even greater company. And the more we scale and step into like known territories and also unknown territories, this will be a valid opportunity for us.
All right, Danny, we'll leave it there. This has been a terrific interview. I've really enjoyed it. Danny Brickman is CEO of Oasis Security. Thanks for joining us here. I'm John Jannarone, Editor-in-Chief of TechEdge, signing off from Nasdaq MarketSite.